Hi everybody. Today I'm going to do a video on skinning out a deer head for a euro. Um, you can tell on the by the expression on my face how excited I am about this one. It was a deadhead that was found this year. A good customer of mine. He's brought me quite a few now. He was out shed hunting this last weekend, I think last week before the snow, and he had found the buck that he was targeting this year. Unfortunately, he found it dead in the woods on his land, and he asked if I would be willing to do a euro on it. So I asked him, I'm like, how long has it been dead? He didn't know, obviously, and he mentioned that it was starting to kind of get funky and rotting, and one of them lovely ones, we enjoy doing. So I'm going to do my best to try to get the cape off of this one and show you guys how to do that. One thing I've already noticed is in the nose region, I don't know if the hide will come off. We'll see. We'll try it. It might be a pretty long video, but we're going to try to get through it. So the deer we're talking about, I get it. I mean, it is nice buck. Very nice. Is this guy. And as you can see, I can already smell it. This is no joke. Normally, I don't want to do these because they just smell the high heaven, and it's really hard on my equipment. What I'm noticing already, yeah, we're gonna get lucky. We might be able to get this off. If we don't, oh well. I have other ways I can get that off later, but we're gonna start with the skinning process first. So I wish you guys had smell-o-vision right now, because it just smells absolutely wonderful. The one thing that after getting a few stitches, I've realized that cut gloves are an amazing thing to have. So you can go on you can get them on eBay, you can get them on Amazon. Definitely invest in them. They're super cheap and they save you a medical bill. So, wow. Okay. I don't like doing these, honestly. Um, it's pretty rough. So we're gonna get it skinned out so I can don't have to worry about the stink anymore. I'm gonna try to get this one done as fast as possible. I also have a bunch of fish to do, but I'm gonna try to do this real quick here. Oh. All right. The way I do this is, I'm trying to show you. I use a scalpel, and I'm going to do a Y incision. So I'll come from this burr to the center, and then I'll come from this one to the center, and then straight down. So just bear with me a little bit here. I can already tell you it's going to be kind of tough, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm starting on the left one right now, and you'll notice that you kind of got to go in kind of deep, because that skin is a lot thicker than a lot of people think. Yeah, it's unfortunate he didn't get this one when, during gun season, but it is what it is. Everybody knows that. Yeah, she's ripe enough that the fur is slipping. So what I mean by that is I can just basically take the hair and it comes off just that easy. So she's a lovely one. Sometimes when they're really bad, I have to wear a mask because I just can't handle it with the smell. But this one, I mean, it stinks, but it's not horrible. I've had worse, that's for sure. Usually with these ones I charge a lot more, but He is a military veteran, so I'm trying to keep my rate the same way. I like to help out my brothers in arms. Oof. I'm just trying to get through this hide down to the base here. All right. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this side. And I'm just going to start with my scalpel peeling that back. Now because it's a Euro, I'm not too worried about cutting through anything. I might, depending on how bad that nose is, I might have to leave that on. One thing that was nice about cooking them is it tends to take care of that and they'll peel off eventually. And all I'm doing is, you can see I'm just peeling it back, and now I'm going to start cutting through some of the meat and getting into that ear, cutting the ear free. Another thing too, when they're really bad and been sitting for a while, I don't even mess around with it, trying to take a screwdriver to the antler burrs and, you know, getting that cape out from underneath the antlers. I'll just cut around it, go a little bit faster. Because like I said, once you start cooking it, that all comes off. It softens up and then you can easily take it off. Usually I can get these done pretty quick. This one's going to be a little bit tougher, just because of how long it's sat. Oh, he does stink though. Right now I'm just cutting around the burr. Like I said, I'm not going to mess around with trying to get that freed up. I usually take a flathead screwdriver and I will work that around to loosen that up. Now I just freed up the ear. So what I'm doing, I'm just gonna keep cutting away. And you'll notice after a certain point that I don't go down below the jawbone, and I'll show you why in a second here. I do this with most of my Euros. Yeah, see, you can see it's just slipping like crazy. I mean, honestly, if you're big into shed hunting, you're going to come across these eventually. And this is a good way for you to learn how to do it yourself. Because a lot of taxidermists won't even do it for you. Is what I'm finding out. Normally, I don't like to do them either, but it is what it is. Oh, man, this thing's rough. Not the worst one I've done this year, though. I have one customer, he's brought me quite a few deadheads that I don't know if they tried to do it with the beetles and it just didn't work out or what, but and then they sat on them forever. Yeah, this one's gonna be pretty rough. Oh my gosh. Alright, so what I'm doing is, if you look, you can see how dry that is. That's all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around the eye socket on the cape, just to help free that up. I don't think this is coming off today. It's probably gonna have to soak in the cooker. We'll see what happens. Honestly, I wish it was a little bit better. It'd probably be a little bit better video to show you how I do this, but okay, it's just gonna be what it is. That hide is so dry. Normally when they get real dry, I'll put them in a bucket of water and I'll just let them soak. And periodically change the water. This one is kind of freeing up a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. So I've got it pretty much freed up around the antler. So I'm going to work on the other side now. One thing you'll find out with your scalpel is you're going to go through a ton of blades. If anybody knows a better brand of scalpel blade that lasts a little bit better, please comment below. I've been using these ones. I usually get them in a pack of 100, and I don't know, I've been going through a lot of them. If I can get something that holds up a little bit better, I'd be more appreciative of that. Oh, yeah, she stinks. So far it's coming off okay. I wish there was just a little bit more moisture in the skin on this one so I could peel it off just a little faster. So what I'm doing is around the base of the antler, I just basically cut I'll cut straight across there. Usually I use a straight blade screwdriver and I just kind of pry it out from underneath, but we're not going to do that this time. Like I said, it's just on there too much that I think it'd be a waste of time trying to fight with it the entire time. This way I can do this and get it in the cooker and get it, it'll soften up that way. And once you get it cooked off and start cleaning it, that stuff comes off so easy, it's not even that big of a deal. Comment below if you don't enjoy doing deadheads, especially rotten ones. I really don't like doing them, but you gotta make money somehow, I guess. And if you're in this line of work, you're gonna run across it sometime. Oh, I just got a good whiff of something there. Guessing this is the side that was laying down because it's a little softer. Another thing you can do too that helps to soften them is it's terrible. It's going to smell terrible. You can put them in a plastic bag, and the blood and stuff that is left in them will help soften them up. It is so horribly bad when you do that, though. But if I was out in the woods and I came across it and I wanted to have it done, that's the first thing I probably would have done, is put it in the bag like that. I think the hardest part of this whole thing is going to be trying to get this cape off of the nose. It is so dry. And you got to be real careful because you don't want to put nick marks all down the nose of it. But, so here's where I'm at right now. I got this all skinned out. I'm working on the face now. Smell-o-vision would be great, honestly. You guys could share with me. The joy. Yeah, and like I said, we're gonna have to cut around the eye on this one, just because it's harder than even your regular belt leather right now. I should have probably soaked this one, but ugh. That's another smell too. After you soak them, make sure you got a good place outside to do that. I personally don't have a heated garage. I mean, it stays somewhat warm, but we had a weird cold spell come through and with a lot of snow, so it ain't gonna happen out in the garage this time. My wife has been very, very patient and tolerant of this stuff. She's very supportive, and I appreciate everything she does. It's a big step, when you're used to working a 9-to-5 job, and like a lot of you don't know, I suffered a back injury, so I had to come up with a different idea for doing this kind of stuff. So this is what I did. Or I suffered a back injury at my last job, so I had to change careers, and I've always liked the idea of doing taxidermy, and I've dabbled with it back in, I don't know, years ago. I started messing around with it a little bit because it was getting too expensive to bring my trophies in all the time. So I decided I wanted to learn how to do it. And so here's where I'm at now. So I took the leap and jumped into it full steam. Another thing I'm doing right now, as I'm working forward, I'm cutting all the meat and tissue away from the lower jawbone, and I'll explain why in a minute. Yeah, that nose is going to be tough. One thing that's good is once you get this eyes skinned out, you can grab a hold of that opening in where the cape where the eye was, and you can yank on that forward to help pull it. Well, we might get lucky here. We might actually get this off the nose. Just gotta take your time and pull really hard. These things are the nastier ones that you do. Last year when I started, I had a total of, I think four deer came in last year. when I started my business, and this year I had 57 deer come in, and that is crazy to me how much that grew over 1 year. But that's how word gets out, you know. People are always looking for taxidermists. If you just want to do euros, by all means, that's a good money maker, honestly. There's no, other than the minor stuff you have to buy to do it, you can make a lot of money doing it. Well, we'll see. We're gonna fight on this one. But, and all I'm doing is you can kind of see I'm kind of grabbing a hold of it and I'm rolling it and pulling back at the same time. And as you can tell, this is all dry. So I'm having to pull and just lightly cut as I pull. You gotta pull with a lot of force though. I honestly don't know how much I can do that because I'm a big guy, but with my injuries and stuff, it's really hard to do that at times. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably get to right where the base of that nose is. So if you look here, you got the black part of your nose, and then down here is where the nose bone starts. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably cut it from the mouth back on both sides, and then cut this whole nose section out, cut whatever's left of this, and then just leave the rest on there. That's if I can't get the rest of it off, which it's starting to look like I might not be able to unless I soak it for a while, and I don't really want to do that right now. Normally what I would do is I'd peel it all forward, get it up, and then pull everything up over the nose, and then I would come back here. I would cut free my jawbone on both sides, and then open up the jaw, split it, and then finish off skinning it out while removing the jawbone. So I'll kind of show you how we'll still be able to do some of that, but like I said, it's going to be pretty tough to do it the way I normally do. Oh man, she's really tough. It's almost like beef jerky in there. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut straight across, remove this lower part on both sides, and then I'll remove the lower jawbone as well. He did not say he wanted to keep the jawbone, so we're not going to mess with trying to get that all. If he wanted to keep it to get it aged, I'd put it in a plastic bag and then have him come pick it up, because I really don't want it in my freezer, honestly. It does stink. It's got a nice sourness to it. A lot of blood in the mouth of this one, so I'm wondering if maybe this was maybe if it was shot and just wandered off too far. Judging by what I'm seeing on this lower jawbone, I'm guessing it's probably a 5-year-old deer, honestly. Teeth still got quite a bit of sharpness to them. They're not mowed down. Once you get most of the hide off, it's going to be a lot easier to do this. Like I said, this thing smells terrible. Okay, so what I did is I cut free all the cape to this point. So now I'm going to work on getting that lower jaw off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the side of the mouth, and I'm just going to work my way down to the jawbone, just kind of cutting. You'll get to that point and you'll know when you get to the jawbone. It's just, you're going to stop. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting through the esophagus, the back of the mouth, and through there. Now, another thing that I'd like to do is I'll come, if you move the jaw up and down, you can kind of see where it is back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm going to cut that free right now. This thing had a lot of fat on him. Probably would have been a pretty nice deer to see alive still. And like I said, my knives, they really just, these blades don't really hold up the greatest. So all I'm doing is cutting through this tissue to free up that jawbone. And then I'll cut along the eye socket. Cutting along the, okay, so I'm going to cut along the eye socket right here, and then right where that bone is, right down in here, I'm going to cut up along the edge of that as well. And the reason why I'm doing this today is because garbage pickup today, so I'm going to try to get this in the trash can before they leave. So right on that lower part of the this bone, I'm cut that free too. So the jawbone right now is not free, but it's a lot easier to do the next step. So I'm going to do same thing on this side. Get behind it. That way I can loosen it up. I would totally show you guys this up close, but my hands are so full of nastiness right now, I really don't want to get my phone all full of garbage. Ah, heck. Alright, so what I did is I cut along the top here, and then down the back, and then along this bone right here. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut behind the eye socket, and then I'll cut below here. And what that'll do is that'll free up the jaw so I can pry it open. What I'm doing is cutting through the tendons and that hold it together. Alright, so I got that all freed up. Now, what I'm going to do is right here. So we still got one vertebrae in here. So I'm going to find where the back of the skull is. It's right here. And I'm going to cut straight down to that, the base of that, where the vertebrae meets the skull. Notice I still haven't gotten the hide completely off. I don't think it helps when you stand it up like this on the antlers. And all I'm doing is cutting straight down until I get to that vertebrae. And I'll come over on this side. I'll come over on this side. And you can see right here, that's that last vertebrae. We're going to take that off, along with everything else. Good sharp knife is what you need for this. I can't wait to see, can't wait until I get this in the cooker and that smell that comes along with that. That I do outside, obviously. I use electric cookers. I like the fact that I can set the temperature setting on them. To me, that helps. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I am freeing up that last vertebrae. I don't know if you can see that. I have cut through all of that, and I'm getting down to where that vertebrae connects. I'm gonna have to, it's like tendons that hold that on. If you don't cut through them, it's gonna be kind of tough. You're gonna have to fight with it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just working my way around. There we go. And I'll show you why I haven't removed the lower jaw yet. Because I'm going to get to the point, I'm going to do it all at the one. I'm going to remove the rest of everything all at once. I think next year I'm not doing deadheads. I'm going to take a break from them for a while. The smell is just, oh, it's terrible. Alright, so now, as you can see, I've got the neck pretty much freed up. I'm just going to pry that over and get it out of my way here. Just like so. Well, she's lovely smelling. Alright, so now I've got that all freed up. Now we're going to remove the jaw. So what we do is I'll grab a hold of here, and I'll grab a here, and I'll just pry it forward. You might have to cut a little bit when you do this, but it should just, yep, you pry it until it breaks off. And then, oh, we got to cut the rest of it free. There's two, just broke my blade. There's two bones in there that you got to remove. I use a tin snips and I'll just kind of pry them free. I gotta replace my blade real quick. I just busted it. And I'm gonna replace my glove too because that just ripped. Like I said, I normally don't like doing these, so I usually charge about $50 extra to do these. just because they're so rough. I will be most likely investing in some beetles. Because the idea of a set and forget kind of sounds nice right now. Alright, so now I'm just going to cut that lower jaw free. Try to remove as much meat as I can when I'm doing that. God, this thing's rank. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. Here's one of them bones I was telling you about. So I'll just go in there and just like so. I'll have to remove the rest of that bone on the other side. Or after I get it cooked, I'll remove the rest of it. That's still hanging on. But there you go. You got your cape, your jawbone, all in one big lovely package. Alright. Change out my gloves quick here. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get as much of that nose off of there, or the hide off the nose. And then we'll remove the eyes and I'll blow the brain out of it. So like I said, this is going to be a struggle, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it free right now. Because after I start cooking it, this will all soften up again. So I'm just going to cut the stuff that I don't want to fight with right now off. That's where cut gloves come in handy. I just slid off and hit my glove. Like I said, if you want to save yourself some money on stitches, that's the best way to do it. We got like a Kevlar material. Some of them are wire, like a wire mesh. I think they're like $5, but don't quote me on that. And when they get dirty, you just machine wash them. Alright, so I still got this section right here. All I'm going to do, I'm going to cut up along the nose up to about right here. So all that's going to be left on here is just this little part of the cape. Unless something changes and it all comes off, which I doubt it will. So I'm coming up, so then your nose bone's right about here, so I'm going to cut just above it. And I'm going to go straight across and break a blade. That just goes to show you how tough and dry that is. I could have soaked it for a while, but I'd still be fighting with it. even if I did soak it. Soaking it does help to an extent. And just cut straight back. And we're going to come up. Take that off. She's a rough one. Guess I should say he's a rough one. All right, so that's where I'm at. All right. We got the nose out, we got the rest of the cape off. This patch right here is really tough, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook it and that'll soften up. So now I'm just going to take the eyes out. That's so gross. When you go to remove the eyes, you want a sharp blade for sure. You're going to take a hemostat, clamp onto the tissue of the eye, and then you just basically cut the eye out. You're going to cut around it, and then you got to get down below it because there's a lot of nerves and stuff hanging onto it. So what I do is I just kind of start at the back and I work my way around. Obviously, a fresh one would be a lot easier to do. I could usually do one of them in like 15 minutes. I think we're about 45 minutes into this one so far. And just like that, your eye comes out. I'll try to show you if I can in an angle. So what I'm doing, I'm taking my hemostat and I'm just grabbing the hold of the eye tissue in the back here, and then I'm going to hold that forward, and then I start at the back of the eye socket and I just cut around. Sometimes that happens where it slips off. There's a lot of stuff that I'm still kind of learning on this. You know, like beetles for sure would be nice. But I've had deer come back, you know, come into me that were done with beetles that were never, I don't think they were ever degreased and whitened, because they were just brown and staining, and I've had to blow out. There was one I think I blew out like 20 beetles out of it because the person that did it never cleaned it. So there's the other eye. Now we'll take care of the brain. I just did a video on that yesterday, so you'll get to see it again. I take a garbage bag, and then I'm going to put so this little spot right here where your vertebrae meets the skull, your brain's right inside there. So we're going to take the whole deer head, put it in the garbage bag like so, and then find where that opening is. It's right here. So then I'm going to turn my air compressor on. It's going to get loud, so you might not hear me, so I'll try to talk through it. What I use is an air nozzle just like this. I find where that is. I I poke it through the bag into the back of that skull, just like so. You're going to want to hold the bag, because if you don't, you'll end up with a mess. And just give it a little air and work it around and in and out, and that brain will come right out of there. Just like so. As you can see, it came out. There's still a little bit of greasiness in there, but most of it's in the bag. So now what I do is I'll put this in a bucket for right now, and then I'll bring it outside. But that's how I do it. I'll definitely be cooking this one. I'm going to bring it outside right now so I get the smelliness out of my shop. But yeah, so if you ever come across one of these, that is an easy way to do it. Just cut, when it gets real hard and dry, just leave that on there. Once you start cooking it, it'll come off. So, but I hope you enjoyed more than I did, obviously, because the smell is just wonderful. But if you have any questions, obviously comment below. And like I said, if anybody knows a better blade to use for these, let me know in the comments. And always like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps my page out. So have a good one. Thank you.